Okay, I've got 9 o'clock. Let's begin with a prayer and pledge of allegiance, if you all will stand with me. Jimmy, are you ready?
Let me get it.
Okay, ready. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for a new day, and we thank you for, once again, a chance to handle county business. We thank you that you have entrusted us with these obligations for this community, and we just pray, Lord, that we will use the wisdom that you provide to make the best decision on each agenda item. We just pray for this community, for your continued blessing, and thank you how you've taken care of us thus far. Thank you for the recent rains. We pray for our first responders and our servicemen and women, wherever they may be. We turn this agenda over to you in Christ's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we may have a few other people trickle in, but we will begin with item, first of all, this is our kind of a special meeting date. This is Friday. This is the 5th of October, and we've changed it due to the holiday. It is 9 a.m., and we will begin. Item number 1 is opportunity to hear public comments and or requests for information on non-agenda items. Anybody have anything they would like to address the court on at this time? All right, let's consider our minutes from the last meeting of September, the September 24 meeting. We have a set of minutes that needs to be approved.
Make a motion, we approve them.
Motion is made by Commissioner Parker to approve minutes from September 24th, and a second by Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 3 is a report from our road engineer, and Roger is out on a little recuperation leave at this time. We've got Philip Hoffman. Welcome, Philip.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. If you'll pull that mic down so we can make sure everybody at home and overseas can hear you.
Okay, on what we've been doing the last couple of weeks, we finished up on County Road 3225, Camp Langston Road. Got it all swept off, and it looks pretty decent over there. Finished up on County Road 2470, get all the cleanup on it also. Went to County Road 1315. We had just sections that we had dug out and chip sealed over it, and then we did a double chip seal over the rest of the road. Did it from one end to the other, and it looks pretty good now. So that should help out on some of the pothole patching on that road for sure. County Road 1670, we did a double seal on that little section that we had done a couple weeks ago, and that should be ready for a final seal whenever we get ready to do it. County Road 1468, we did an overlay on it, kind of smoothed it up, and I think we put 3 loads out on it just to kind of level it up a little bit, and we did our final seal coat on it. Did it's a little over 1.5 miles. We should do the sweeping, finish cleaning it up this week. Well, next week, at the end of next week. We're sweeping it today. I think there's only one section we got where people like spin out and stuff like that. We got to do a little bit of patchwork and stuff like that. Inevitably, anytime we redo a road, somebody wants to go out there and spin out on it, and we have to go back and patch it. So we should finish up on that one. And same thing on 3150. We did 3 places on it, kind of leveled it up, where we had done some R&R work and finished the seal on it this week, and hopefully to finish up those patchwork on it first next week. We got our yearly allotment for our wrap from TxDOT, including the wrap for Chapel Hill, and we started hauling it
You did get the Chapel Hill?
Yes.
The
yes,
full
they-
amount?
Yes, they included it with it, no problem.
Where are we going to have to pull it from?
Every bit of it's going to come out of the pile out here on 271.
Good.
As a matter of fact, that whole pile of 271 is ours.
So they got their 1,800, what did we get?
8,000.
8,000?
8,000. Yep. Yep. So they originally said that we probably were going to have to get some out on 67, but they told us every bit of that pile there is ours.
Does Chapel Hill know this?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Roger told them before he left last week, and I'm not aware if he did. It's from my understanding, we're not hauling that to them. They're going to set up their own hauling to that. Is that correct?
Well, ideally, they would like a little bit of help, and if we're able to in the future, maybe, but we did not commit to that. That was not part of the deal, and it really wasn't part of the request.
That's the way I understood it. If something happens or changes, just let us know. If we can help, we sure will. Absolutely. Since we got the wrap, we've already started moving it since we have so much of it. Moving it to some of our roads that are pretty bad, and we started County Road 1250. What we're going to do is just bow mag it in and just leave it compacted out using our grid roller and compacting it and just leaving it for right now. If it gets to where it's too dusty or whatever, we may try to slip in there and chip seal it or something real quick. You know what I'm talking about? So.
We're going to go ahead and put the wrap
Sir?
and start both tearing it up.
Yes, we've started that already. Yeah, we put the wrap in it, grid rolled it down, get the big chunks out of it, and then use our bow mag it in, and that way creating a base. That's what we're using it for, is base material, get it packed in there, and then again, hopefully we can just chip seal right on the top of it, which is our cheapest way to do it.
What was that road number?
1250.
1250 over there by Gerald Hampton's.
No, it's up there.
No, that's not mine.
Yeah, it's the one that goes by Willie Don Davis. Yeah. Oh, okay. We share the road, I guess. Precinct 2, Precinct 1 does share.
Okay.
That's right.
Side of the road.
Whenever we're almost done with that 1250, just as soon as we get done with that, we're going to pick out some other roads that are pretty bad and see if we can't do exactly the same thing. Started our mowing this week. We're going to continue, or started it just like we did in the spring, and do the first 2 precincts and then come back and get the other 2. All 4 side cutters were down last week, so we may look at maybe trying to have to do something with those. We had some pretty major damage on 2 of them, and I think the other one is not the side cutter itself, it was the tractor, where they were getting a lot of metal shavings in throughout the hydraulic oil. That's pretty extensive. So anyway, we've got one side cutter back going now, and hopefully before too long we'll have another one, type thing. We've been putting in culverts for some folks, adding a cross-drain structure to these roads that we're redoing, or putting that wrap in just to get the water off the road, and we'll continue patching potholes. And when we can, we've been doing a lot of sealing, as y'all probably know, which takes all of our crew to do that. So, any questions? Any other questions?
Did you get your truck beds?
I did. I talked to him yesterday, and they're actually built in Mississippi, and they should have them shipped in within the next week or 2, I think is what he said. So he's going to get them here as soon as he can.
While Philip's here, I need to
Right.
tell you about the, we're spending money with Ergon.
Yes.
I don't know if that's for seal coat or what that's
It is,
for.
yeah. It's the liquid asphalt.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't actually ever get a bid from them. I think they're the only ones that provide that service anyway, but we need to get a bid from them and include that in our bid process because we're spending more than $50,000
Where is Ergon out of?
here.
Well, they have a plant here.
Yeah.
The main office is,
Don't remember where
it's off somewhere else. I can't remember.
Who else offers that product?
There's nowhere, I've talked to Roger about that whenever Carl brought it to my attention, and he's thinking that the only other one that might be is somewhere in Oklahoma. There is a hot oil plant in Henderson, but we really don't want to mess with hot oil. It's pretty dangerous there. It can get kind of dangerous.
Have we ever bid that product? You don't know, Mike?
Do what?
Have we ever bid that product?
We've tried, but they're the only company in this area. You might get out of Dallas, but just hauling it down here would be pretty easy start to do. Right?
I think in the future, just because of the amount of money we're spending, just procedurally, we probably ought to do that.
Yeah.
But I understand that's the
And we're
only
not spending over
supplier.
$50,000 at a time. It's a combined of,
Right.
several bills that come in.
Right, but that
Sure.
qualified bid be over. So what I'm going to recommend we do is we go ahead and go out for bids in the next couple of weeks.
So we did that before.
And we'll just have a bid now through July, and then next July we'll include it in the regular bids.
So we need to do it now?
Yes, we need to
Okay.
send the specs down to,
Sure.
and get him to send it out, and let's get it bid.
We haven't used any in 15 years, I don't guess, till now.
Correct. That is correct. And we have used quite a bit here recently, and that's the reason why those bills are so.
Yeah.
Well, I know the city and the state, and everybody uses them. They're
Yeah, all the
ones
other
around.
surrounding counties, you
Yeah,
can
that's
see them
fine.
coming
At
in.
least we'll
Yeah,
have a bid process and show, even if they're the only provider, they'll be in the bid.
We're just very lucky and fortunate that right here in Mount Pleasant.
But you need to send the specs down, let him send it out, let's
Okay.
open some bids.
Yeah, I
He
talked
might
to
be the
him
only one.
earlier.
That'll also set the price.
Right.
Thank you, Philip. Anything else? Commissioners, any questions for Philip?
I don't have
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Okay, item number 4, wrapping up our medical insurance for the year. We had one final piece of that puzzle, and today we're going to consider and possibly approve a stop-loss insurance provider and the premium renewal for the new year. And I know that Chris has been working hard on this. We initially got one quote that was a little higher than we hoped. She got it whittled down a bit, and I'm very pleased with it. So Chris and Jessica are here. Chris, would you like to have the mic there and lead us through this handout you've given us?
Sure. So what this is showing is that your current stop-loss carrier is QBE. You moved to them on 1/1/18. That was a choice because they came in as more competitive than your previous stop-loss carrier, which was Zurich. Initially, they came out with what we call a trend increase, but based on the way your plan has run for 2018, I went back and pushed on the underwriter with QBE and asked him to reevaluate the quote. He was able to give us some additional relief on the quote. So initially, you don't have this information in front of you, but initially, your renewal in both the fixed cost, which is your stop loss premiums for the deductible, it was coming in at 11.5% increase. With the revision, we got it down to 8.62%. The expected cost of your plan running for this coming year, for 2019, he was expecting the cost to run at about a 3% increase. And we actually looked at your expected cost based on enrollment, the plan design changes that you approved for 2019, and we expect your expected claims cost to come in at 1.5%. So your overall increase on your renewal, if you accept it, would be a 2.76% increase. And that is option 1 on the form that I have provided to you. Now, it's not completely firm, but it will be, he was asking for September data, which was going out to him today, him being the QBE underwriter. I looked at your claims for September. I did not see any increases, no large claims came up, so I expect this renewal to hold.
Are you recommending we keep all of our specs, keep the specific deductible the same, et cetera?
I do recommend that you keep it at the $60,000 individual specific with an aggregating specific of $70,000.
When was the last time we changed any of that?
You've been with UMR since 2013, and you haven't changed it at all.
Okay.
And it's done well for your group.
So we found a good balance in there? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I appreciate you hammering on them and getting that down to 2.76. I think in this day and age, it's pretty good.
Absolutely. On average, I'm seeing about a 40 to 60% increase on my other groups. So I was pleased to see this renewal.
Okay. So that's a 2.76% increase in the premium that we pay for our stop-loss insurance. That sounds really good to me. And so, Chris, your recommendation is we go with option 1, keeping all of our specs the same on that policy.
That would improve $15,929.
Yeah, I've got a spreadsheet. No, that's just your aggregate premium. This would be your individual specific premium here. Yes, plus you got to add in that 15. Yep.
Yeah. We see that dollar amount, guys, just to bring it to your attention, in the first half of page 1, down there, the second line from the bottom of the second half. Here, I'm looking right here. You'll see estimated annual premium, option 1, $432,000.
And that is what we call fixed cost. So that is what you pay on every employee and their dependents that are enrolled. That covers the cost of the individual specific deductible of $60,000. And then your claims cost, what we expect the claims to run at. You'll see that down in the lower bottom of the portion that your annual would come in at $1,009,000, which is maximum expected cost. So if you ran at 125% of what your expected claim should be, that would come in at $1,200,000. At what we expect it to come in at is a little over $1.5 million. And you're currently at, actually it would be $1.6 million, and the expected for this year was at $1.5 million. So your increase on your expected claims is very minimal. Again, due to the plan change recommendations that you accepted, we've been very aggressive in our contracting as we do every year, so always achieving better contracts lowers the claims cost.
And again, just for clarification and as a reminder, this insurance is what keeps us in a self-funded plan from going bankrupt in the case of multiple or
Absolutely.
single large claim.
Absolutely.
This is our high-end protection.
Right.
Okay.
You're saying overall, though, we don't have any major claims on the horizon.
Right. Right.
And that's a big deal. That's the preventive stuff that y'all started and things we've put in place and stuff. I think it's really paying off.
I do. I agree as well. Your members are doing a very good job of staying in network, using, the in-network doctors, and taking care of themselves. So it's done well for the plan.
Okay, we need to approve this so that we can get signed up for this New Year's policy.
Make that motion.
Motion's made by Commissioner Fields to accept this proposal and this new rate from QBE for stop-loss insurance.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Riddle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you, ladies, for coming. We appreciate you making the trip.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, Steve, I'm going to bump down one. Glenn, are you still waiting on anybody at this point?
We are.
I mean, I can give you more time, but I wanted to get you out as soon as I could. But if you want a little more time, I've got other things I can do here. And if they come in, we'll listen to them too. Okay, Steve, I'm going to bump Glenn here in front of you, or Wade, or whoever's going to talk. But I'm bumping down to item number 8, consider and possibly approve repairs to the North Courthouse steps, including engineering and construction that would go along with that project. And Mike Fields has kind of headed this up. Mike, any opening statements you want to make here before Glenn talks to us?
Judge, we had well, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, Glenn, and we went down there and looked at it and just gave it a good looking over and stuff. I think one thing we've got to have an engineer on this project, and I would like to go ahead and do the process, let Glenn be the engineer, and then after I kind of look at it and show it, or y'all look at it and show you what kind of problems we got down there, and I hope you can be out there with us in case anybody does have any questions. But we're gonna have to do some drilling and stuff like this, and I think there's some areas we may be able to keep, and some areas we may not. We won't know till we get in there. And this is going to be a hard job to bid out because we don't know what we've got. There's unknown there. Once we find that out, and this is where Glenn will come in and say, hey, we can do this or this. This can stay. This has got to go. These type things. And, I know we got people looking at it to do the construction work, but I feel real good about the engineer part that we need to do that. So.
Okay, Glenn, if you would. Glenn is with Prefert Complex Designs. Is that still your employer? What is the entity that you actually work for? I know it's Prefert, but specifically
Prefert, I
what?
would say, is the parent company. Prefert Complex Designs is a licensed engineering company in several states, including Texas. We are a separate entity, both in insurance, accounting, the whole 9 yards, primarily because we need separation for liability purposes on the engineering side. But we do mostly, I would say, industrial type projects, and industrial type projects including agricultural type projects. But we've done everything from schools to banks to churches and things like that. In a previous life, we did a considerable amount of concrete repair on things like parking garages before I came to Mount Pleasant. And really, this is basically a concrete repair project.
Okay. Glenn Calvert, what are your credentials, just so these guys know and anybody else that's listening, and why we've asked you to be here?
I'm not exactly sure why you asked us to be here, but as far as our credentials are concerned, basically a licensed structural engineer with about 25 years experience now, and we have done concrete repair work on large structures, everything from high rises to parking garages are a major concrete problem. You remember about, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months ago, there was a whole panel fell out of a parking garage. And some of the things that we might talk about today are commonly used to repair heavy structures like parking garages. I'm not saying this is that heavy of a structure, but it'd be some of the same principles.
Okay. Well, we asked you here because you're local, and Prefert's our friends, and we know you.
Yeah.
So tell us about this problem that we've got out here on the north steps.
Well, I think the main thing on the north step is the result of freeze thaw. That's the reason why the north steps are worse than the south steps, because in the wintertime, that concrete will absorb water. It stays colder longer, and probably gets colder in the first place. The sun never warms up the north side of a building. So I think what you're seeing there is a freeze thaw. It probably started at the top and started spalling that concrete from freeze thaw, and as it starts spalling that concrete, moisture starts getting down into the bottom. So if you haven't seen the bottom side of that landing area, you'll see a bunch of deteriorated reinforcing on the bottom side of that where it's received moisture. I don't know if the county ever salts any of these landings, you know, to get rid of the ice, but that makes the problem worse. And the reinforcing on the bottom of that landing it's in poor shape, almost to the point of being non-existent. Like Mr. Fields said, we're not sure what all's in that slab. We have no drawings. From what we understand, it was built in the early 1900s, those steps. And we don't know if there's one layer of steel or if there's multiple layers of steel. Possibly if there are, then maybe the other layers aren't nearly as bad. In order to repair it, we were, I guess, first called by a concrete subcontractor, Bar H, who does a lot of work with Larry Teal Construction. So Randy Teal. So we went and looked at it with them. If it is a complete concrete repair, there would be a significant amount of demolition on that side of the building. Everything from the landing to the steps, we would try to retain as much of the side walls as we could. All of that is dependent on some preliminary investigation just to see what the state of that concrete is. Right now, we don't know the thickness of the concrete. We don't know the quality of the concrete. A lot of that would be done by some isolated demolition, which may be as simple as drilling through the concrete. It may be busting out some concrete. But if I guess you could look at it worst case scenario and best case scenario. Worst case scenario, that whole landing has to be taken out and the steps have to be replaced. That would be worst case scenario. If that were the case, there would be other things that would come into play. Everything from replacing the portals that frame out the door, because those are built on top of the slab. There would be some electrical work, because there is electrical that lights those portals. There would be landscape work that had to be done to repair what got tore up during the process. There would likely be some sidewalk repair because of the demolition in the area. So worst case scenario can get really involved. We had a list of items. Wade put together a list of this. And by the way, this is Wade Clark. He would probably, if this goes forward, be the one that would spend a lot of time out here looking at this. Wade, I just had this on my phone and I've lost it. But we had a whole list of items that would be ancillary to the actual repair as I described. And it could get, I would say, very involved. As far as what that would cost, there were some numbers thrown out today that I think Randy Teal and Bar H were thinking about, and they threw out some pretty good sized numbers, 100,000 and up to do a complete repair. That would be worst case scenario, and I would think whenever I say up, I don't know how far up might be. It would, as Mr. Fields said, be something that would be difficult to bid, because whenever you got into something, the more you tore into it, the more you might find. Another thing that we saw is that the drains in that area don't appear to be working at all. So regardless of what's done, I would recommend the county clean those drains out or do something with the water that falls on that and falls in those stairwells, because eventually that'll start deteriorating, if it hasn't already done it, the floor level and come into the building, and you don't want that to happen for all kinds of reasons. If we looked at best case scenario, depending on what was found during the investigation, it might be more of a topping and a repair scenario as opposed to a demolish and replace scenario. We reached out to a company that builds chemicals and epoxies for repairs, and these are epoxies that I'm familiar with that we've used on parking garages and things like that. They put together a package, we can share that with you guys, as far as what might be used for a particular part of the repair. And that would include a separate material for the topping slab, separate materials for the steps, probably a separate material for the underside of the slab. The good thing is about that scenario one, it would be less expensive. Although those materials are not inexpensive, they do cost a good amount of money. But it would be done quickly, comparatively quickly. The north entrance would be shut down for a lot less time, and it wouldn't involve a lot of the other things like the repair of the landscape or the repair of the sidewalks or those rebuild of those portal frames, because it would all be done separate from those items. It's stuff that can be done really out of a 5-gallon bucket and a set of tools for the right contractor. I do not know if there's any contractors in this local vicinity that's familiar with those products, but there are contractors that specialize in this.
All right, so what would first step be? The engineering process, which would involve just some poking around and figuring out what we've
I think
got?
you'd want to do some selective demolition first, and that would be to determine the thickness of the landing. Right now, we're not sure if it's 6 inches thick or 8 inches thick or 4. And we would probably want to drill into the top of the slab all the way through, actually. Possibly even cut a hole in the slab so we can see the quality of the concrete throughout the section. If we cut a hole in the slab, we would also have a good chance of hitting reinforcing, so that gives an idea of whether or not we've got one layer of steel or two. And do the same thing in the steps. The steps are probably not an issue at this point. Obviously, they don't look great. They've been topped with some sort of material several times. We probably want to go ahead and fix those at the same time, but that would be a repair scenario where we try to keep the water out of the concrete, but it also dress it up some too. So to answer your question, I think just preliminary investigation to find out the quality of what we've got to work with.
And that would just be done on an hourly basis? Since
I would probably get, my recommendation would be to get a contractor out here, and we could do that on an hourly basis. Just cut us some holes so we can see what we've got. And then as soon as we cut them, if it's a big enough hole, we go ahead and patch it back. But yes, that'd be hourly. And after that, come back with some findings, you might say, and let the court determine whether or not we want to go with the repair or the repair and replace based on what we find.
you mentioned getting a contractor. Why would we get a contractor initially rather than just entering into an agreement with you?
I don't have the saws. I don't have the drills to do that. I'm just saying, get somebody to come out here and cut some holes for us.
So
and
you would guide them, and
Yeah.
they would do the labor and the hardware work.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the reasons other than just cost is looking at it this way is I would say that if we did the full demolition and replacement, I would look at that to be, a 30-year repair. If we do the less, I guess, obtrusive repair, you might be able to get 10 years out of that. So that's something else for you to consider. I don't know what the county's plans are for their overall courthouse, but if there might be some renovations coming up in the future. But if there are, some of the things you might think about, okay, is this thing completely accessible, handicap-wise and all that stuff? I'd hate to dump a lot of money into one of these repairs and potentially have to tear it out in 10 years if the county's plans change one way or the other. So it's just something to consider about the longevity of this.
The kind of contractor that you would need, that you would oversee, do we have that kind of talent here?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. And I know you mentioned bar age, Mr. Henderson would be able to do that.
Yeah.
Is he the only one that can do it?
No.
Teal,
Sir?
would Teal do it, or that would?
He might do it. I think Rick Henderson at Bar H does the majority of his concrete work, so.
He'd probably end up doing it anyway, rather
Yeah.
than Randy and his guys.
And the thing about it is that if it went farther, if it went into complete renovation, then there would be several contractors that would like to have the opportunity at it. It may end up, Teal would have as good an opportunity as anybody to get the work, but they would already be familiar with it. If it goes the repair route using these epoxies, I don't know if anyone here local is used to doing that or has an experience doing that, but it's not what I would call rocket science. It might be a good opportunity for a local to learn that part of the business, and this manufacturing company trains people in order to do that, so.
I understand how we would probably get a price from you. You would give us a price per hour for your services. How would we bid or otherwise contract with the person actually doing the physical labor? Would it be better for them to work under you and we just deal directly with you only, or should we have two entities?
I
that
think
we're
you'd
dealing
probably want to have two entities. We're not contractors. We don't carry contractor liability. Through the course of the repair or the replacement, whichever direction you wanted to go, I think there would be a certain amount of our involvement through that process as they uncover things that may not have been there. And if we were to put a set of documents together as the basis for contractors to bid upon, there would probably be several unknowns in there that are based on findings during construction. We just have to structure those documents in a way that specific items could be the basis for a proposal. A lot of gray areas and unknowns on this.
When going out for bids for that contractor, could you help us to put together the specs of what it is we're asking them to bid?
Yes, we would have to put together a set of documents that fully describe what we understood with the information we have available, what that design or what that repair procedure involved. And then we would have some certain items that we'd probably want to price on a unit price basis for unknowns. Contractors would need to put in everything from labor rates to equipment rates and things like that, so that you have those in hand as part of the proposal that they turn in when and if they do uncover something.
Okay, all right. So at this point, we're not sure how much money we're going to spend, whether it's going to be the worst case or the best case. That's what we're trying to determine through this first stage.
Okay?
Okay, all right. At this point, you need our approval to move forward before you put together any.
I could put together some sort of an hourly, probably not to exceed, investigative type proposal, and that could be something that the court decides to either accept or not, and we could go that direction, hopefully keep the county's costs down initially as much as we could. At the same time, we'd need some investigative type work like we talked about, and how that's done would be strictly up to you guys, or we could get a proposal from somebody and just do a pass-through and just attach it to our invoice whenever we send it.
All right, Commissioner Fields, what would you like to
My
see?
recommendation was let's hire men to kind of oversee this, and let's look, see what we got first. If we find out what's in those steps and walls and stuff like this, we're really not going to know what to do till we get in there and see what we got. And let him kind of oversee this and things that need to be done. We need to go ahead and get this done, or this thing will take forever. The north end of the steps are used, they're used all the time. That's where everything starts and happens up here. Sometimes you have stuff on the south end, but just about all that because of the north end doesn't have the sunlight and the dryness that you would have there. This is a real bad situation up here on the north end. I think we need to hire him, let him to get the process going. And the reason I say we need to pay by the hour is because if there's something that needs to be completely tore out, is one thing. If we can save this and we know the wall is good, then we can leave it. We don't have to tear it out. That's where the engineer comes in and tests this and looks at this and comes up with the plan, and then he can help write up what we need to see if people want to, we'd like to get people to bid on it, that type of things.
And something to think about is as far as the longevity of this repair, is it you guys want to get a 10-year repair out of it or 30-year repair? That's something for you to
I can
consider.
tell you right now, I want it done right.
Yeah.
If you go do it right, and you can get by. That's what we did about 15 years ago. We come in there and
Okay.
we knew it wasn't going to last. It lasted a little bit longer than we thought it would, but it needs to be fixed. This courthouse was built in 1897, and there's some things we've got to spend a little money on it to keep
Okay.
it up where it should be.
And the
But
other thing-
I think we need to go ahead and let him know that he's in charge of doing this.
How about I would suggest we wait and see what his rates are going to be and then base our hire on that. I definitely want him to do it, but I think the way we are supposed to do business, let's at least get an idea from Glenn what he thinks.
Let me ask that, have all of y'all had a chance to look at that under there and what we got and stuff? We've got drainage, that's
And
got
that
to
was,
be fixed.
that was where I was going to go next, is that regardless of what happens, the drainage needs to be investigated. Unfortunately, it is a very small pipe, and I'm not sure how much investigation you could do, but there are plumbers with cameras, there are plumbers that have jets that can clean out pipes, but that needs to be addressed regardless
You're
of what's
talking about the drains that are down there below?
in the landing, yes.
Below grade.
And that happens both at the landing below, or at the bottom of the stairwell below the landing. That's not only at the main landing, but it also happens on the landing that's on the west side of the north entrance. It's still on the north side, but there's a stairwell that goes down. So I would definitely investigate all those drains. Eventually, if it hadn't already started, that'll be some problems.
Okay. So you're making a how about your motion be that we review Glenn's proposed rates, which we understand will be hourly because he doesn't know how much work it's going to take, and then approve this at the next meeting?
That's my motion.
I want to clarify something. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was brought to my attention that we had had bids already went out on this project, and I was just going to clarify that, have we put bids out on this contract yet?
No.
Because it was the deal. We said that we already had bids out. I just want to clarify that we have put no contracts or bids together for anybody.
No,
We don't even know what the work is.
Right,
yet.
that's what we was confronted that we already had the contractor who's going to do it and everything. And
No, two people have looked at it and said.
Right. Well, I just
Needed an engineer.
Right.
They would have
Right.
bid on it. They wouldn't even.
Okay, so you're just saying somebody has said,
Yes.
hey, why wasn't I included?
Right.
And
Yeah, I
you're
was
just
gonna
making
clarify
it-
that
you're
we
just
have not-
clarifying that.
Yeah, we have not put
we're just
bids.
barely getting started here.
right. We hadn't had no talk with anybody.
Okay.
And
No.
so.
I was confronted
No,
the
they
same.
wouldn't talk to me.
same
They
way.
wouldn't talk to us.
Well, they just, we was confronted that we would said, no, it hadn't, and that we was, oh, yes, you have put bids out, and we have not. I was going to clarify that.
Okay.
No, not at all.
And I want that stated, but we know that we're not trying to hide that. That's what he's saying. We're,
Yeah, good idea. All right, got a motion. Commissioner Riddle, did you have something you were going to say?
No, I don't see why we have to come back. If we ask him to do it, to approve it, I think maybe we should consider just let him finish the job, tell us what, the whole thing, instead of getting us the prices. I guess if I understand you correctly, he'll consider what it would cost to examine it all, make the drilling or whatever you had to do, and then come back and make it.
Well, I think that it's prudent that we ask him what his hourly rates are. He anticipates spending between this and this.
Yeah.
This is not an emergency project. We want it done as quickly as possible. Now, we aren't going to meet now for 2.5 weeks, so if you want to do something different right now, if you just want to turn him loose.
Well, I'd like to turn him loose. It has to be done. It's a serious situation. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's fine. You've got a motion here that's going to postpone us by 2.5 weeks. You're suggesting we do something different that would speed it up. So I've got a motion, first of all. Is there a second on the motion? All right, Commissioner Riddle, would you like to make a motion that differs?
Would you, how would you prefer to do it?
It doesn't matter. I always like for the people I'm working for to know our hourly rates before they get an invoice. I think that makes sense, but we could get you that quickly. Quite honestly, with our schedule right now, we probably couldn't do much in the next 2 weeks anyway with the things that we already got scheduled. So let me get a proposal to the court, and you guys can consider it in 2.5 weeks, and we'll be ready to go, if that's okay with everyone.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, Glenn, Wade, thank you for being here. Look forward to working with you on getting started, and hope that you figure out a way to make it cheap.
Okay, yeah, no doubt. It's my money too.
Yeah.
So we did make copies from an email that we got from the manufacturer of this material. We got several of them. You can each have it. You can read it, or you can wrap fish with it.
I think it'd be a good idea, Mike, after the meeting, if you would maybe take everybody down there and just kind of show them what you all have found.
Those are basically the products and email and just little information as to what the repair might involve if it's
Give you a couple of these here. Give you all a couple of those. All right, thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Wade.
Let's jump back now to item number 5. Steve Austin's here, and he wants to talk to us about a Titus County Historical Commission Merit Award project.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. I've already provided Judge Lee with a copy of the packet I'm going to turn over to the county clerk. And the purpose of this is primarily to get the Merit Award project in the record so that we know what we've done, who we've acknowledged and provided these Merit Awards to. This will give us a reference point in the calendar and in the minutes as to where this information can be found in the record. Give you an idea of what I'm talking about. This is the actual Merit Award. Developed in 2016, Prefert Manufacturing in their design group helped come up with the design and provided the first 24 of these awards. The packet contains a list of the 24 approved, authorized presentations. We've made about 10 presentations thus far around the county. But this is primary to get it in the record so that we know where these were issued, when they were issued. Each one has an identification mark on it to identify which one it is and who it was presented to. Give you an idea of the scope. The original thought was just to provide these to cemeteries to encourage them to preserve the cemeteries, possibly even apply for Texas Historical Recognition designation, but it's grown above and beyond that already in its short life. There are a number of cemeteries. We made a presentation yesterday to Green Hill Presbyterian Church. It's received a historic notification or designation from the Texas Historical Commission. It's one of the oldest Presbyterian churches west of the Mississippi. I think there's one other that's known to be possibly just a couple of years older than it. We have a number already presented, and the list of 24 that we have now are going to be presented probably in the near future. But again, the primary purpose was to get it into the record. The county clerk has a copy of the record, and I provided an additional copy for the commissioners to look at. If you have any questions about the process or the procedure.
Have we got these like to the school system and to the city in their libraries, things like that? Do we have copies of them?
No, right now, this is the first record entry. That's why I thought it was important to make it an agenda item, so we have a point in time to be able to identify where the information is. And, we've made a presentation to the city library for the museum part. I presented it last year, and it's on site, and we follow up with a copy of the logbook variations, and we'll bring the additions that we present to the Commissioners Court for entry into the log for the record, and move forward from there. Again, we wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for the generosity of the Preferred Manufacturing Group and that whole bunch for helping us out. It probably cost them about $150 per marker by the time they got it designed, cut, the materials, and of course powder coated. And couldn't have done it without them. And they're certainly, I've met with them several times and extended our appreciation, not only from the Historical Commission, but the Commissioners Court as well. And they're pleased to participate. Good group of folks. But that's all I needed. As far as I know, there's nothing that requires county action. Just want to make sure that it gets into the record and everybody knows where it can be found.
I think this is a great idea, and I think it's, this sentence right here kind of explains what's the purpose of this: to preserve our history, educate the public, and mentor the youth of our community to the importance of keeping our heritage alive.
That's it. A little bit of recognition usually for a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
100 years from now, they'll be glad that was done.
Okay, thank you, Steve. We will have this as part of the minutes, and we'll look forward to you keeping us informed when these awards come up in the future.
And, like I said, we have 24 already, and I've made probably, I think, 8 or 10 presentations. So as we make those other presentations, they'll be updated probably on a monthly basis, depending on weather and those kind of activities.
And it's the commission that makes the decision as to who receives these?
Yes, when we got the first batch in, the group of us sat down and said, okay, what entities or individuals, they're not necessarily for a person, but maybe the activities of a person or something to that effect, or buildings, that kind of thing. So we made out a list of who would be the first 24, come off the first sheet metal where they were cut out of. Where are these going to go? The list will give you an indication. One is going to go to Dillwood Park through the city, be presented to the city for presentation there. Dillwood Park being the original Caddo Indian site and Hot Springs. The city's done a lot of work to bring the history of that area back to life, and of course the springs are now functioning. They're not actually, they put some mechanical and engineering into it to make them a little prettier than they might have been originally, but the 3 springs are actually bubbling up. I think that's significant to the past of our area. Another one we're going to add is Fort Sherman. Make a presentation out there for the remnants. And we're in the process of working with the park Texas Parks Division and the Bob Sandlin Park, and hopefully we can get with the family who has the control of the remnants right now, see if we can't get them moved to actually inside the park, and hopefully we can accomplish that.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask this, of course, this is, I think I know the answer, but I'm not sure. Our monument out here, then we've got the time capsule. Have we looked at that anymore to see if we can get, I'd just like to see what is in there.
Yeah. Done a little more research. Yes, it may be in the pedestal of the statue. It could also be at the base in front of the statue. The soldier faces north. And one of the indications is it might have been at the bottom of the base, not inside the structure, but out in front with the soldier overlooking it. I don't know, because there's been a whole lot of paving going on. I think it probably been deep enough to survive all that, but there's a possibility that it's inside the pedestal. With the condition of the statue right now, it's been worked on and tried to be maintained to keep it from getting any worse than it is. You can tell by vibration over the years that things are a little bit askew, but it's still pretty solid. I wouldn't even attempt, to do anything beyond just appreciating it for how it's standing right now, because that could get into a real expensive issue real quick.
All right.
I just wondered if there's going to be any future, maybe.
I would love to, but I don't think the statue could stand a whole lot of manipulation at this time without a lot of expense.
Okay.
There is one activity that I'd like to bring note, since we have an attendee here in the audience. Sheriff's Department has been making, as they always do, roving patrols throughout the community. But one of the things that they've done is, especially commercial sites and businesses that are remotely located, the patrolling deputies have stopped and put a little notice that we were here on this night, on this time, and inspected the condition of your facility. And I just wanted to pass on to the Sheriff's Office and the Commissioner's Court. That's been well received by the people of the county. I've had some positive comments, and I told them that I would direct that to the Commissioners in support of the Sheriff, and y'all can pass it back down the line. But that's really appreciated by the folks who aren't within the city lights and watching over their stuff.
Very good. Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Item number 6, consider and possibly approve 2019 resolution regarding the Indigent Defense Grant Program. This is something that we do every year. The state of Texas has grant funds available to all counties that helps us with the cost of providing attorneys for citizens, defendants that cannot afford an attorney. And the grant does not cover the cost of that by a long shot, but anything that we can get helps. And so they require us to approve this each year, and it's that time of the year. So I have a resolution here. I'll kind of read you the highlights. Whereas under the provisions of the Government Code, counties are eligible to receive grants from the Texas Indigent Defense Commission to provide improvements in indigent defense services in the county. This program will assist the county in the implementation and improvement of indigent criminal defense services. The court agrees that in the event of loss or misuse of the funds, the Commissioner's Court assures that the funds will be returned in full. Therefore, be it resolved and ordered by the judge of this county, designated as the authorized official to apply for, accept, decline, modify, or cancel the grant application for the Indigent Defense Formula Grant Program and all other necessary documents. So I'll need everybody's signature on this if you will approve it, and I hope you will.
Make a motion, we approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Parker to approve this resolution related to the Indigent Defense Grant.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, if I can get your signatures there. Item number 7, consider and possibly approve a modification to the Election Administration Office. So let me tell you a bit about this. For the last few months, the Election Commission has been meeting to discuss ways that we can be continually improving our election process. And that's everything from location to methods to personnel to equipment to traffic flow at the various locations where voting occurs. One of many ideas that in the Election Commission is myself, our county clerk, Joan, our 2 party chairs, Sue Evenwell and Leonard Rockwell, and who am I missing? And Judy Cook, and Chrissy joins us, Chrissy, our elections administrator. And we've probably had 3 meetings, I guess, in the last 4 months talking about ways to improve. And we've made several changes over there at the office, moving folks around, and one of the things that we feel like we need to do is to cut a door opening between the election administrator's office and the work area where her 2 employees are. We're trying to, we want to keep that a secure location over there, and it's difficult and time-consuming to be getting up and going back and forth through the 2 locked entrances where these girls can communicate, and where Chrissy spends, time working with the 2 of the others. And so we feel like cutting a hole, just a standard 3-foot wide hole in the wall there. Not a door, we don't need a door here, we just need a cased opening. So I got a contractor, or actually a good carpenter that I'm familiar with, and took him over there and showed him, and Chrissy showed him where she wanted the hole cut. But we've got just a standard stud wall over there. There is a set of cabinets there that was brought over from Judy Cook's old office at the annex. It wasn't custom built in place. It's just a large double wide set of cabinets that can be cut apart and separated in order to make room for this hole to be cut. So this job was bid. He provided me a price of $1,400. There is some minor electrical work there to move a data and phone port, but really that's about it. There won't be any flooring modifications, and there will not be a door. It'll just be a wooden stained to match the other stain cased opening. Cut this set of shelves in half, move the shelves to a more appropriate place, and reattach them to the wall. $1,400 is the cost of this. If he runs into any additional electrical work other than simply moving that low voltage receptacle, there may be an electrician charge there to move conduit if there is conduit running through this space. So this work would be was proposed by Buck Jones. Buck's somebody that I would be interested in adding to our list of available contractors, just a good general carpenter that I have known for 30 years and is willing to do this work. He will not be able to get to this until after, well, he could get to it earlier. We don't think we want to do this work before the election. Just because it's getting hectic and is going to continue to be more and more hectic through early voting that starts here in a couple of weeks. So that's what I would like you to approve.
I'll make the motion, we do it.
Motion by Commissioner Riddle to approve this $1,400 job to cut an opening in the wall at Election Administration.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 9, we have a plat approval on a subdivision. We have looked at this same subdivision 2 times previously, and if you'll recall, this was a situation where, in order to conserve money, the developer only developed a couple of lots at a time. This most recent subdivision request will finish out this subdivision with the addition of lots 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That will complete all of the acreage here. There is nothing required additionally. Clint Bain has signed off on this. There's really nothing more than approving the plat. Everything else, nothing else has changed, and the statement by Clint Bain was, these guys are good to go. I have looked it over, and he provided us with a note, a letter to that effect. So if you want to see the Little Lakes subdivision, and I believe this is down in the
corner of Highway,
Is it
FM
Cason?
1735 and Highway 11.
not really Cason then, is it?
No.
Okay. 1735, down there at the very end where it connects up with Highway 11. And he's got, these additional lots are 1 acre, 1 acre, 1 acre, 1.2 acres, and 2 acres. So they all meet the size requirement. They've all got existing road frontage. They've all got water supply, utility supply here, and they're adequately sized. I recommend approval on this Little Lakes subdivision.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Parker.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 10 is our oral and written reports.
We're still working on the roads. If you look on Road Bridge line, you see it's like quite a bit of money still in it. We're going to carry over next year, which that's fine. I don't work next year, but they don't usually carry over that much. I guess the line is slow down. They're working now, but they're here now anyway. So.
You feel like most of your bills are in?
Well, I mean, I don't think all the roads, I don't think all the bills are in the road bridge, but you're to October 5th, so they're gonna keep working all the way within October, because the weather's gonna be good. But that's-
Yeah, but as far as the close out of the year,
Yeah, well, we're still getting them.
Okay.
Although what we had out of the road bridge, I wouldn't expect anything.
I got to review all of them, so I'm hoping by maybe November, we'll have all of them in.
Another note, the county.
you get your mic over there.
County auditor over in Camp County, her name is Nanette Willoughby, right, in Willoughby, I believe that's right. She's indicated that she doesn't want to be the county auditor anymore. They offered the job to Christie, and she's going to take that job. I talked to Nanette, and she still likes to stay in this. Nanette. She still likes doing this kind of work, so she's going to come over here. Basically, they're going to swap places, and Nanette is going to come over here and be the first assistant in Titus County, and Christie is going to be the county auditor in Camp County. So that's going to happen. That's going to happen January 1st, but they're going to be working back and forth over the next couple of months. Nanette's going to be over here some. Christie's going to be showing her things over here. Christie's going to be over there. She's going to be showing her things over there, so that so the transition can go very smooth.
Well, I knew about this, and I think that's a great opportunity for you, Christie, to be the top dog.
I don't know about that.
Well, I do. I think you got a nice judge over there. Not as nice as this one, but he's nice. Judge Mason will be good to work for, and I know he thinks highly of you, and I'm sorry to lose you at this point. I never want to see anybody denied opportunity, so I think that's good for you, and I look forward to meeting Nanette. I don't know Nanette.
She's gonna, I talked to her some yesterday, after the 15th, things kind of slowed down a little bit. She's gonna come over and meet everybody over here in our office. And
What date?
the date's gonna be January 1st, I think.
No, I'm talking about when was she gonna come over?
Oh, she's gonna come over sometime after the next couple of weeks. So,
Start training over here, and
well, she'll be over here some training. I don't know exactly how they're gonna do
I
that.
talked to Judge Woodson. I had lunch with her yesterday, and we had talked about Judge Woodson is encouraging us to, anytime that it's not necessarily we have much of a call with.
Right.
She had time tomorrow. So we had a real good meeting, and I think she'll fit in with, introduce her, talk with the elected officials, department heads, and just kind of get everybody used to her. We have 90 days or less, so we're going to be working on that. Maybe she'll be here to work and watch the audit and stuff, but when we just stay through the audit, and her to finish up her year over there. So you'll just be seeing, I'm going to have her come to the next couple of courts. I think we still need to do that and see what's going on in here. And so you'll just start seeing a new face in the next few days.
where does she live?
I think she lives in Pittsburgh. She grew up in Pittsburgh, I think.
Yeah. And she's been the county auditor over there for 2 years. Before that, I think she worked at Pilgrims and she worked at some other places. Yeah.
She's in the tax.
But she's been the county auditor over there for 2 years in an office that doesn't have any assistants, so she's been doing everything over there, so she should fit in fine over here. Krista did a good job over there, so.
All right.
Well, Christie, I can honestly say, we're gonna miss you tremendously. You've done a great job here. You've been a great asset to this county, and we've got the loss, but they've got the gain, and that's what it's all about. We wish you the very, very best.
I'm telling you that if you've got any questions, you can still call me. I spoke to one yesterday in front of me that, and like I said, we're going back and forth. I have the same bosses, so I have to be nice to everybody.
I hadn't thought of it like that, but you do,
I'm not
don't you?
helping y'all because I got the same bosses.
I want to say congratulations.
I'm excited for y'all too. I'm not going to leave you, trying to leave you before me.
Just like to say congratulations to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I told Christy yesterday that when she told me about it, that I congratulated her, but I said, I don't have to like it. She's been a real asset to me since I've been on the court, and I appreciate her.
A lot of knowledge there. All right. We
Make that motion.
got a motion by Commissioner Fields to approve these reports.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Treasurer's report is item number 11. I see Cheryl's got her new keypad and camera on her door, so she's secure. She never answers the door now. I can't get in.
I'm not letting her see my picture in there.
Yes, I have some that they
I just covered it up.
camera.
I just covered up the camera, so she can't see who it is.
I thought about getting over and making faces at her the other day.
Well, if he covers the camera up, don't you open that door.
And speaking of those kind of projects, we still have a project in the clerk's office that's, Paul has had two contractors look at that. Unfortunately, they didn't get him their proposals in time, so he asked for another couple of weeks before that's on the agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion is made to approve the treasurer's report by Commissioner Applewhite,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved budget amendments.
There aren't any.
There are no budget amendments. Item 13, approval needed to pay our bills.
Make a motion, we pay our bills.
Motion, Commissioner Parker. Second, Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 14, closing comments. I'm grateful to have a holiday on Monday, and thank you for your flexibility changing to Friday here. Commissioner Parker, any closing comments?
No, sir.
Commissioner Applewhite, Commissioner Fields.
Only thing I have, Monday morning, at the high school, we're having a district cross-country meet. Out there, boys and girls, we got a good chance of winning both of them. If you're not, since it's a holiday Monday, if you got a chance, please come out there. And other kids would.
And what is your role out there? You
I
run
have
you
been
run
the
with them?
official starter for 32 years.
You don't run with them.
I do not run with them. That's Carl will run with them.
We hope not.
All right, so that's on a holiday.
It's on a holiday.
Commissioner Riddle?
No, except I would like to this court to consider that having some of our meetings at night, at least one, I wish that, I think it would be a benefit. I believe we should let the public be involved as much as possible. And it's pretty inconvenient for them to be here at 9 o'clock every Monday morning or when we have the meetings. And I think we should consider that, and I wish you all would consider it.
All right, if there is nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Motion is made, Commissioner Applewhite.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.